Hey up and welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Simon and today I wanted to have a chat with you about buying books intentionally. It's something that I'm really keen to do, and it's something that I'm going to take you along to see how I get on with over the next few days. As you can tell, I'm not at home. I am in Edinburgh, where there are an abundance of incredible bookshops. One of the reasons that I decided to come here to have a little bit of a retreat, if you will. So far, I've been here for 24 hours and I haven't bought a single book. I have been so tempted on several occasions, which we'll come to shortly. But for me, I'm aware that last year, or the last few years really, I've bought quite a lot of books, and they've been very much like off the moment, spur of the moment, not really thinking about whimish, which I know I'm trying to do more of this year, but maybe not in this respect. And it became really apparent to me when I was doing my sorting the shelves at the end of every month, where I take all the books that I've been sent by publishers, books that I've bought myself, and put them all on the shelves to sort of, the word isn't balancing, what do I want to say? It was just, I can't think of the word, but it was that. What I discovered was there were a lot of books that I got, and I'd be thinking, I'm not sure if I really want to read that or not. So going back to yesterday and how that impacted my first day in Edinburgh, I had a bit of time to spare while I was waiting to be able to check into this lovely apartment, which you'll see in my Edinburgh vlog next week, along with what I'm reading, more of the bookshops and stuff and food and all that lovely shenanigans. Anyway, I ended up in Waterstones, and I have only packed 2 books with me because I do intend to buy some books intentionally, and they are Caledonia by Elspeth and After You'd Gone by Maggie O'Farrell. And I was worried because I'd almost finished this, and in my head I felt like I needed to read this when I leave because it's got a really big moment at Waverley train station, which is Edinburgh's big station that I came into yesterday and will be leaving with on Friday. I've over-explained that. I was like, oh no, I need to get something else, And I had a really good mooch around Waterstones. I initially wanted to get a copy of Lote by Shola von Reinhold because it's about a woman who becomes quite obsessed with a lesser known black Scottish artist. However, when I picked it up and had to flick through it, it wasn't quite what I was in the mood for. I was really trying to find some black Scottish authors to read. I've read Jackie Kay before, but I've really struggled to find them. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. I then sort of had this moment of desperation, was like, I need another book. Not thinking I could just start this one, of course, because why would that very obvious thought occur to me when I was in that mad shopping space of books? What I did do is then look around a little bit. I discovered, and I've been thinking about them since, that there are more of the polygon Scottish historical retellings. I've read 2 of them already and really enjoyed them, particularly Rizzio by Denise, Mina, and also Hex by Jenni Fagan. There were 2 more that I'd spotted. Fate intervened because I nearly went and bought them when I was going to go and get a pizza for dinner, but the shop had shut early. I think they're on sale though, so I feel like they're on my sort of periphery to pick up at another point. Anyway, I've digressed slightly, but that has given me 2 books that I do intend to get to at some point because I've enjoyed the previous ones in that series. However, I was like, I need to buy a book. I'm in a bookshop. I really need to buy a book. My eyes stumbled over the paperback of Jyoti Patel's The Things That We Lost. I think that's the right title. I'll put a picture of it here. I do have that at home in hardback, so I was thinking this is a bit of a tenuous potential purchase. However, it had a quote on the cover by Ali Smith, and so did these. So then my brain was like, oh my goodness, Simon, that's the perfect theme reading vlog. And what I'm filming can sometimes sort of link into what I end up, or can sometimes influence what I end up wanting to buy in bookshops rather than just having a mood. And because I'm reading more by whim this year, I'm hoping to break that. But my brain clearly went back to that yesterday. And so I was like, oh, I should get it. I didn't. I resisted. I didn't even finish this anyway yesterday. I just wanted to highlight how I felt like I won by not buying anything in Waterstones. Nothing against Waterstones. So in terms of intentions for book buying while I'm in Edinburgh, there's one book that I would really like to get my hands on, which is a book called The House Next to the Factory, I think it is. And I saw this mentioned by Kate on one of her What's in the Box, Mrs. Harris, on Instagram. And it had a quote on the cover by Carys Davis, who's one of my favourite authors. So I was like, oh, that's one I've not really heard about. Sounds really, really intriguing. It's about 3 generations of the family in India. I've been keeping a list of some recommendations by you, lovely lot. I feel like I'm going on right old loads of tangents here. It's because I'm not in the safety of my own bookshelves and they normally ground me slightly. Anyway, moving on. So that's where we're at, and I thought what I would do is, as I go book shopping and pick up books, I will catch up with you over this week as to where I bought them, why I bought them, obviously with some bookshop footage going on too, and my intentions behind that purchase. I'm planning on going to Oxfam Books first today, and that could open a whole can of worms in terms of intentions, but I do have some. There are certain editions of books that I would like to keep my eyes out for in charity shops, and also there are certain authors I'd like to sort of, I was gonna say risk it for a biscuit, but risk it for a bargain and read in the future. So I guess the intentions will become apparent as we go. Let's get a cracking, let's get a shopping. Hey up everyone, it is quite a bit later on. I've been out and about, I have been book shopping, and I thought before I tell you about what I bought, because I have bought some books, we could play a bit of a guessing game, but I want you to be honest and in the comments below, tell me how many you thought I'd bought, because I'm going to ask you to all put your hands up as I go through the options. Did I, in 2 charity bookshops, the Shelter Scotland Bookshop and the Oxfam Bookshop, plus then 6 or 7 charity shops before then heading to Rare Bird Books, which I absolutely love, and also Golden Hair Books, which I absolutely love. Did I get 1 or 2 books? Put your hands up. Did I get 3 to 5 books? Or put your hands up if you thought I got 6 to 10 books today. If it was the latter, you are dreadful disbelievers and you don't think I've got any willpower whatsoever. I did not get 6 to 10 books. Might do by the end of the trip, but I haven't for now. And if you put your hands up for 1 to 2 books, you were completely right until about half an hour ago. And we'll talk about why that is. So, before I tell you about what I bought in Rare Bird Books, I want to say that I didn't get anything in any of the charity bookshops or indeed charity shops. I saw quite a few I quite like the look of. This is kind of, I guess, about how I'm thinking about buying books from secondhand and charity bookshops going forward. I really want to get my mitts on a copy of Tulip Fever by Deborah Moggagh. I saw this edition in the bookshop, but it wasn't the one that I want. The one that I want has actually got a tulip on it, and tulip's one of my absolute favourite flowers. I would be tempted to get quite a few tulip tattoos, but they do look quite like penises, whereas at least roses look a little bit different. I've booked in for a new tattoo actually very soon. I might even have had that by the time this goes live. Anyway, moving on. I also think what they've done with the new cover is kind of gross. Then I spotted a Persephone, and it is a Persephone that I really, really love. Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, but I have the classic one, which is where they put a picture on the cover. Speaking of which, I have found out that they are releasing William, which was their first, was it their first Persephone? Yeah, they're reissuing it in that, not just the grey cover, but the classics with an image cover. And my quote is on the back apparently, so that's very exciting. Anyway, back to this book. I couldn't work out if I had it in the just grey edition, so I decided not to pick up Mrs. Pettigrew Lives for a Day, even though it was a £4 bargain, and I'm now slightly kicking myself. I also later on, I didn't get a picture of this, saw several of Susan Hill's Simon Sereda books and didn't pick up any of those because I have no blinking idea what number in the series I'm at, and it has made me think the unthinkable. Is it time I documented or scanned every single book that I own so that I always know what I've already got? That's slightly scary. Anyway, that was the other option. And then there was a book that I saw by Sallie that was a book I read probably in my mid-20s, I want to say. And it was when I was just getting back into reading, and I really, really enjoyed it. And for some reason, I don't have a copy of it anymore. And I nearly picked that up, and I probably would have if it had been a case of me being either more local to the bookshop or having come with a big suitcase, not the pathetic amount of luggage allowance that I allowed myself onto a train. Moving on, what I did pick up. So when I was in Rare Bird Books, I picked up one book. It was not any of the books that I planned on getting at all. I picked up The Monsters of Templeton by Lauren Groff, which I love this edition. It's got this scaly cover because it's about a woman who goes back to her hometown of Templeton, and on the day she arrives, they find this prehistoric creature that's been living in the lake, and I don't know if they've got anything to do with each other, who can say? Now, I have gone slightly against one of my intentions for bookshopping this year, which is to not pick up a book by an author I already have on my shelves. However, Matrix, I think, is going to be very like The Vaster Wild, which I liked, but I don't think I loved. Whereas I really, really, really liked, didn't quite love, but really, really liked Fates and Furies. And this feels more of that ilk. It's a bit more of a chunkster. It's a bit more about relationships. Also, that had a kind of classical myth element, and this feels like it's got a folklore element. Oh, and of course, I got a bookmark. I really, really love that bookshop. It's got bigger since I was last there, and that was very exciting. And then at Golden Hair Books, I picked up another book that, well, I've had intentions of buying because it's on my wish list, which is always linked below, where I have a selection of books that I can't get in the UK. Apparently I can because I did. And that was Girlfriends by Emily Zhou. And I had a really interesting chat with the lovely gentleman who was working at Golden Hair Books today, because they got a few of these before Christmas apparently, and they sold so well. They had this like stack of, I think, about 7 or 8, of which I now have one. And I heard about this through Hunter on Instagram, who funnily enough is an epic Lauren Groff fan, and he was raving about this short story collection which looks at queer and trans relationships, and I think this is going to be incredible. It's from a small press in America called Little Puss. I picked it up, as I mentioned, in Golden Hair Books. Very excited. It wasn't cheap, I have to say. It was $15.99 for a paperback, but I think if it's as good as I've heard, it'll be worth every single penny. And it was just a delight to see it in the flesh and get to have a look at it. So that's now off my wish list because it's here. So that was very, very exciting. And that was where I thought I would stop. However, I'd been out for dinner, and on my way to dinner, I went past Waterstones, and I did pick up, and I have been talking about it earlier, Alan Warner's Nothing Left to Fear from Hell, which is one of the books that Polygon are publishing, where they get an author to rewrite a bit of Scottish history. I did look for the David Grieg one, which has got a very mythical looking boat on it. This intrigues me. There's little mosquitoes that I keep thinking are actually mosquitoes that I've trapped in the pages of the book, even though there's not a single mosquito here. It was also in the half price sale, so absolute bargain. So there we go. On the scale of 1 to 10, in terms of intentional, I'd give this a 7. I would give this a 8, because it has been on my wish list. This one loses the mark because I do have one of her books on the shelves already. And then this was a bit of a random surprise, but it is set in Scotland. I am in Scotland. It was half price. I had been talking about this series, so 5. So, you know, there we go. That is my update for now. I shall see you anon. Hey up everyone, it is the next day, and guess what? Yes, you guessed it. I've been book shopping today. So today I've been to Portobello, which is the beachy bit of Edinburgh. Well, that's my description of it. I love it there, and I love the Portobello Bookshop. I have been once before. Me and Paula Hawkins went after we had a lovely lunch by the beach. I had brunch by the beach today, sadly not with Paula. Anyway, today I went back and got to meet Ewan, who is one of the managers there, who is lovely, and I know through social media, and we had a right old natter. I came away with 2 books, not 1 book, which I thought was going to be the case because, you know, 1 book per indie was my sort of plan. Went against that, and intentions question mark, or intentional buying question mark. So the first book that I picked up and bought there, which I've actually battered anyway, The Things We Do to Our Friends by Heather Darwent. And I don't know if you can guess why I picked this up. Well, there's 2 reasons actually, but the first one is the cover. The prompt for January for the Savage prompts, the prompts that me and my mum picked from a jar of suggestions that lots of you lovely lot have come up with for us, was to read a book with a snake on the cover. This even has a snake on the spine and the back cover. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's snake-tastic. I ummed and ahed about this when it came out in hardback because it sounded like it could be a dark academia, which is not my kind of thing. And the reason that I have picked it up today is, one, it's in paperback, not hardback now, but also I didn't realise it was set at Edinburgh University, so that sealed the deal. I'm in Edinburgh, it's got a snake on the cover. I know the idea of the Savage prompts is to go through the books that you have on your shelves, but I'm not at home, and yes, okay, I do have a pre-order that will probably have arrived by the time I get home, which has got a snake on it, which I actually didn't realise at the time, well, which I actually didn't realise until the other day, but I have started this, so I'm going to say this counts, because it would end up on my shelves, because it's now part of my TBR, but I've got to be a little bit strict with myself on that one. And then the other book that I got was one that I nearly bought in Golden Hair Books yesterday, but I ended up getting the short story collection Girlfriends by Emily Zhou instead. I saw it today, I was like, no, I do really, really want to read this, and it's That's Love by Leonora Brito, which is part of the Black Writing Back selection of books that Bernardine Evaristo has curated and found lesser known gems. And this is a short story collection, and no, I haven't started the short stories that I bought yesterday, but I will either head to those or these very, very soon, because I'm really, really keen to get to them. So I would say this is, again, well, I'd give this a 5 out of 5 in terms of intention, because it's a cover by, I could have waited to read a snake book really, but then the Edinburgh factor and being in Edinburgh, maybe let's say this is a 6 out of 10. And then this one I'm going to say is also a 6 out of 10, because I almost bought it yesterday before picking up the imported book that I wouldn't probably be able to get in any other bookshops to have then for to say. And the other thing actually I wanted to mention is I really want to be intentional in terms of the amount of white authors and authors of colour that I'm buying. So that was another reason I was like, right, I bought more white authors than I have authors of colour, so I want to make sure that ratio is up. So I'm going to give that actually a 6.5 out of intention, out of an intention, a 6.5 out of intention. There we go. So that's that. I have one more, possibly, I was going to say one more, possibly 2 bookshops I'm going to go to tomorrow. Definitely 1, maybe 2. And we'll see how I do, and if I leave empty-handed, unlikely. But what I pick up, if I pick up, I cannot find some books that I'm really keen to get my mitts on, like The House Next to the Factory, and also I really want to get Housewoman, which is a book I've seen a bit online. There's like a buzz for it, but I've not seen it in any shop in Edinburgh so far, so that's another one that I want to get my mitts on. Oh, and I really am intrigued to get Mother's Instincts, which is a book in translation by Barbara Abel, I think, and that I've seen the trailer for, with Anne Hathaway as one of the leads, along with Jessica Chastain. It looks absolutely dark and delicious, so can't find them, but maybe I will tomorrow. We shall see. Anyway, they're sort of my top 3 books I'd like to get my mitts on right now. But The Traitors is on almost right now, so I'm going to go. Hey everyone, it is the next day, and this is going to be the final instalment of my intentional book shopping video. If you would like me to do more of these in the future, when I plan on a little book shopping spree and doing sort of a mini live haul and giving books marks out of 10 in terms of how well I did in terms of intentionally buying them, in terms of, let me know in the comments down below. I only went to one bookshop today, and that was Toppings. I was going to pop to Lighthouse Books, but it was a little bit out of my way, and I got waylaid in a cemetery as you do. I used to be a tour guide at Highgate Cemetery, and I love a good cemetery. It was also a really good spot to take some pictures for Instagram of Caledonia, which I have read on this trip and will feature in obviously my wrap up later this month, but also in my Edinburgh vlog. What did I get at Topping and Company, or Topping and Co, or Toppings, depending what you call it? And I should say that an indie chain that I really, really love, and it was a delight to bump into Saskia, who I'd met at Bath before, who's moved to Edinburgh, so that was really, really lovely. You'll have seen from a panning shot that there was one book that I had popped on the table when I got a lovely pot of tea from the team there, and you can get a free tea or coffee while you're browsing. I mean, what more could you want in a bookshop? That was the only book I got. I only got one, and it was, I'm gonna say, a 10 out of 10 intentional purchase. It's one that I've been looking out for in every bookshop so far and hadn't seen. It's Housewoman by Adora and Wara, which is set partly in Nigeria and partly in America, I think in Lagos and Houston, and is about a woman who has been brought up to be the perfect wife for this man, and she goes out there, but when he meets her in America, he realizes there's something a little bit different going on possibly, and I think the cover alludes to something a little bit sinister. It's been compared to My Sister the Serial Killer, which I really, really liked. And I think that's going to make Mum want to get it. It's also got this lovely sheeny cover, which is perfect because I'm going to be travelling with it. And so it's going to protect it, which is what I like. In fact, I could possibly read, could I? I almost should have when I said it. But I could possibly read a book with the cover on if it was protected like this. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, I'm very excited for this. It's one that I'm keen to read very, very, very soon, and may well do for not exactly a theme I've got planned for the next reading vlog, but definitely a vibe. So yeah, I'll leave you with that teaser. I will say I nearly picked up a paperback copy of Pet by Catherine Gigi, because I don't know how a different coloured cover can make me want to read a book so much more than I did. And I was quite keen because it's in my mum's top books of the year for last year. She raved and wanged on about it, the technical term. The new edition is just, there's something about that black and red that is so striking compared to the mint and red. I also am really keen to get a copy of, I think it's called Hot Springs Drive by Lindsay Hunter. I haven't seen it anywhere on this trip, and I'm sort of pleased because at £22 for a hardback, I don't know if I can justify that, but it is one that I'm definitely keen to get to. But I think that's not bad. I've been to 5 bookshops and come away with 6 books. I've not gone too wild. I'm even reading one of them right now, and I'm very excited about all of the others and want to get them to them in due course. I'm pleased, very, very pleased, and I think I've done all right. It could have gone a lot, I was going to say worse. There's not such a thing as book shopping worseness. I think I've reined myself in, and I think I've picked books pretty intentionally, which has made me happy. I mean, to be fair, the Alan Warner is a little bit like a random purchase, but no, actually no, it's not, because I'm in Scotland and it's Scottish, and yeah. Anyway, there we go. I could run on forever, and I won't. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these going forward. Let me know if you have any intentions when you go book shopping, and let me know what the last book you bought was and why you bought it in the comments down below, and I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye.
What's wrong with my chin?
It's just very big. Got a very big chin. I'm in the car on the way home. Chris has picked me up.
Hello.
From the Stazione. So I went to 5 bookshops in Scotland, some of my favourites. How many books do you think I bought?
I think you normally buy about 3 books in a bookshop. 5 bookshops. I'm going to say, because you've had so many, you've probably seen the same books in each shop, roughly. So I'm going to go for a minimum of 10. I'm going to go with 12 books.
12? I also like your maths there.
Do you?
Or how you were like working out what my average was.
I'm very good at maths.
Anyway, I only got 6. I think that's quite good for me.
Oh yeah. But half as many as I suggested.
Yeah. So next time...
case for treats for me!
No, that means next time I go shopping I can buy double.